Hello, in this video we are going to be covering IXL assignment 8EP, Understanding Integers. Remember that IXL does have a couple resources for you as well. You can click this to learn with an example, or you can click here to watch a video. Sometimes it's nice to be able to see things from a different point of view, or maybe from a different person's voice. All right, without further ado, let's get started. So we're going to be working on IXL assignment 8EP, Understanding Integers. So our first question here says, Emilio owns shares of stock in a software company where he works. Last week, the value of the stock fell 6 points. What integer represents the change in the stock's value? Well, when I go through and look at this, especially with the word problems, I like to read them again. I see that it says last week the value of the stock fell 6 points. So if it's falling 6 points, that means it's decreasing. So we can represent that by using a negative integer. Ooh, let's check this one out. When the value of Coral Island Bookstore stock fell 5 points, the change was represented online as negative 5 points. The next day, the change in the value of the stock was represented as 6 points. Which of these describes the change in the stock's value? Okay, so if I go back and reread, it's telling me that when the stock fell, it was represented with a negative 5 points. But then the next day, it's showing it as a positive 6 points. So if it's falling and it's negative, then that probably means it's increasing if it's a positive 6. See if one of the answer choices matches that. It fell 6 points. It neither rose nor fell. It rose 6 points. Yeah, that's the right one. If it's rising, it's going to be represented with a positive number because we are increasing. All right, let's jump it up a notch. When the value of KQO Incorporated stock fell 3 points, the change was represented online as negative 3 points. The next day, the change in value of the stock was represented as negative 1 point. Which of these describes the change in the stock's value? So when it fell 3 points, it was represented with a negative 1. So we're being asked, what does it mean if it's oh, sorry, it was represented with a negative 3 when it fell 3 points. Now it's a negative 1. So what does that mean? Well, if it's negative, that means it's decreasing. So it's continuing to fall 1 more point. It's continuing to decrease. All right, an incoming weather front caused a temperature in Blue Valley to drop 8 degrees Fahrenheit. What integer represents the change in Blue Valley's temperature? Well, it says we're dropping 8 degrees. So if we're dropping, we're decreasing. So that would be represented with a negative 8, a negative number. The elevation in Kyrgyzstan, Sweden, a city founded by King Christian IV of Denmark, is negative 2 meters. Which of these describes the elevation of Kyrgyzstan? Well, if it's negative 2 meters, we know that's going to be decreasing. That means it's below sea level, and sea level is considered 0. So you have a positive elevation above or a negative elevation below. So if we're at negative 2 meters, that means we are below sea level. For something to be considered at sea level, it would have to be exactly 0. And then any positive number, any positive representation would be above sea level. All right, let's try just 2 more questions. The name of China's Aiding Lake is derived from the ancient word meaning moon lake. The lake's elevation is 154 meters below sea level. What integer represents the elevation of Aiding Lake? Well, if we're being told that we are below sea level, that actually matches that example we just talked about. If we're below sea level, that means we're below the elevation of 0. So it would be represented with a negative integer, so negative 154. All right, last question. Angie has a new coding game on her tablet. Her score increases 10 points each time she finishes a task. What integer represents the change in Angie's score when she finishes a task? Well, if we are increasing by 10 points, that means we're going up, though it would be represented by a positive 10, a positive integer. All right, I hope this helps. If you have any more questions, make sure to check out the tools here that IXL has for you, or you can attend a help session or send an email to your teacher. Thanks. Bye.